Welcome to Critical Role Demystified. I'm Mike Christensen, and this is the series where we break down the lessons we can learn, as GMs and as players, from episodes of Critical Role. Today we're tackling episode 35, Denouement. If you want to get these episodes and all of my videos early and ad-free, subscribe to my Patreon at $5 a month. It's a great deal. We pick up this episode with our heroes fleeing the ziggurat, but then Pike vanishes, purely because Ashley's connection cut out. I'd always misremembered this moment as Ashley being on the call, and then for plot reasons, Matt had someone from Geek and Sundry turn off the call and take the monitor away, representing the fact that Pike was in the anti-magic zone. But no, it turns out the laptop on set wasn't plugged in and the battery died, so they had to redo their setup live on stream. They leave the anti-magic zone and give Vex some healing potions. In exchange for a potion, Vex gives Scanlan the gun they took from Ripley. Then Pike returns, perfect timing, and she does a bunch of healing.
26.
Percy notices that Silas's name is missing from the gun barrel, and since he didn't kill Silas itself, it seems like he's working on a theory about this gun and this mysterious arrangement with his mysterious benefactor that inspired the gun. So until he knows more, he doesn't want to kill Delilah yet. Cassandra seems to be earnest with them now, especially in how low she feels about betraying them. She admits that the Briarwoods kept her to help control the populace, but she also helped draw information out about potential rebellions in town and passed along that information to the Briarwoods. She was a snitch the entire time. But she's very grateful that she failed to stop this uprising. She mentions that she doesn't think she was her normal self, but she also genuinely regrets everything she's done. She feels terribly guilty. She also talks about the Whispered One. That's who the Briarwoods were working for. And Scanlan rolls a religion check and realizes that this is a reference to a Lich King who wanted to be a god. His name was Vecna. It sounds like Cassandra was going to be a blood sacrifice in the ritual we saw performed. Now I want to highlight something. When they ask how they can save Whitestone, Cassandra says they've already done half the job already, and then she looks at Lady Briarwood. Later in the conversation, Grog asks if Cassandra cares if they kill Lady Briarwood. I think he's trying to test her loyalty, and Cassandra says that somebody has to do it to avenge the family. That's the first time she makes eye contact with Percy. And then Percy feels his hand twitch, and black smoke billows from his sleeves, and he hears a voice urging him to do more vengeance. But also, this is all Matt, Cassandra, and the black smoke. And here's the thing. When I've done stuff like this at my games, it can sometimes be a form of railroading. Though, usually I'm doing it because I don't want the players to forget what their task is. Not because I want them to do a thing, just to make sure they haven't forgotten that they haven't done a thing yet they may want to do. And if they decide not to, that's fine too, as long as they make that choice. But here, Matt isn't railroading, because he doesn't necessarily want them to kill Delilah. He definitely doesn't think they forgot about her. He knows that the dramatic question is whether they're going to do it at all. Specifically, whether Percy is going to do it. Whether he's going to continue to succumb to vengeance. Especially since Cassandra's name is also on his list, despite his own efforts. Matt is just keeping the pressure on Percy to figure out what he's going to do and how he wants to solve this problem. He's not letting them forget that this is an issue they need to deal with. Now, I can't just play this entire next clip in its entirety, but man oh man, I love this scene.
Percival.
I walk up to Lady Briarwood.
Yeah. At your mercy.
I put my gun to Lady Briarwood's head.
Wait, Percy, you're gonna shoot an unarmed woman?
Hush.
You changed the deal. Take her name off the gun.
The deal was never changed.
Who's he talking to?
The deal was made.
I pull the gun away. Things have changed. We need to talk. Did I even want revenge before I talked to you? Did I don't remember anymore. I've killed 2 of those who have wronged me, and nothing is better. Nothing feels better. Nothing is avenged.
Pull the trigger.
I take out my hammer.
Put it back. Put it to her. Put it back. So maybe I will.
You're placing the gun against your own head.
And back to hers.
Oh, Jesus.
I need more from you. If you want anything from me, I don't trust you anymore. Besides, I put the gun to the right of I put the gun to the hand of Lady Briarwood.
Missing hand?
And pull the trigger. The gun's broken anyway.
Yeah.
I drop it. I'm not satisfied. I want my money back.
Percy has to make a wisdom saving throw to keep his hands from moving unbidden to grab bad news. He tries to interrogate Delilah and figure out how they can stop the spinning orb, and threatens years of psychological torment. But Delilah fully says she has no idea what happened. She just knows the ritual was performed too soon, so it looks like it failed. She also says they were trying to repay a debt. The Whispered One gave her Silas back after he died. Scanlan grabs the broken pepper box and tries to sneak a bullet out of it, and accidentally breaks the gun in half.
So you watch as Scanlan kind of looks around, grabs it, picks it up, and the full barrel comes off of the gun.
I just sort of back away from it.
You realize he's got smoke billowing out of him right now.
Just sort of kick it off away to the corner.
Scanlan, give me the other gun.
Oh, it's on the floor right there.
The other gun.
You were talking to something out there. What was it? I was very scared. I'm a little man.
Just subject.
Who are you talking to?
I need another gun.
Are you gonna kill me with it?
Thankfully, the rest of the party refocuses the conversation to the important stuff. And then the smoke takes a form behind Percy, urging him to attack. And the party attacks this weird shadow creature. Now, as a note, the animated series took a more dramatic, metaphorical, Dark Night of the Soul approach to this, making the conflict internal within Percy, which I think was a better decision for the story. And I don't really know how you'd translate that scene into a D&D game, although it's possible, I'm sure. But here, it's really just a fight against what is basically Matt's version of a shadow demon. In fact, later in the combat, Matt basically confirms this. Pike rolls a religion check and determines that this is a creature reminiscent of a shadow demon, but they're usually not this powerful. You know, like, maybe this particular shadow demon has been feeding a lot, hypothetically, on like the souls of Percy's victims or something. I don't know, just a thought. The creature identifies himself as Orthax. He can deal bursts of psychic damage that force people who fail the saving throw to attack whomever's closest just as a reaction. And that's a cool power, because it doesn't take away their agency the same way as some of the other mind control the party has dealt with throughout this arc. And it's also a metaphor for what Percy has been worried about this entire time, the untold collateral damage of revenge. Then Orthax moves into the wall and just hides from the party for a round. Again, I think this would be a cool mechanic for a combat encounter, provided the offending enemy isn't the only thing the party is dealing with. But when he's the only foe, it just means the party spends like their entire turns just waiting for it to pop out of the wall so they can attack it. And here's where we ultimately see the weakness of this approach to this combat. If this were any other foe, it probably would have just run. We've seen that before. But of course, Orthax is not like most foes. He's not even like the Briarwoods or some of the other boss fights. His goal is specifically tied to Percy, so he can't just retreat. This is the finale of Percy's character arc, so Orthax can't just vanish to fight another day. And this is ultimately where we see a lot of the friction between the storytelling and the mechanics. What does Orthax want? Well, he wants Percy to kill Delilah, and the rest of the party is stopping that, so he probably does want to kill the other heroes. Sure, that makes sense. But what's his plan? This isn't a criticism of Matt Mercer. It's perfectly logical to make the final conflict with Orthax into some sort of fight. It's a D&D game. And there have been and will be other conflicts later in the campaign and in future campaigns where characters are forced to make difficult choices that move their storyline forward, but the enemy is still just a big thing they have to fight. It can work. But in this case, I just don't think that Orthax's powers or stat block lend himself well to a satisfying boss fight. Plus, I just don't know what he stands to gain right now, or what he's even trying to do, so that lack of clarity kind of drags down this fight as well. During the battle, Delilah misty steps out of her chains, turns invisible, and starts to run. Percy tries to give chase, but Vax is able to snipe her with a dagger and knock her unconscious. By now, Orthax has been badly hurt and starts to chase Percy. We don't know exactly what he's trying to do, but Grog and Trinket use their opportunity attacks to slay the demon. Orthax dissipates and becomes a black shadow that races into Percy and settles as a little nugget of cold in the center of his chest, and then seems to vanish. The cast wonders if this means that he's gone, or if he'll always be with them. Vax delivers Delilah to Percy and tells him to end this, kill her. But Percy hands that task off to Cassandra. And Cassandra reaffirms that she is a Derolo, not a Briarwood, and slays Delilah. They loot Delilah's body and then they drag her to the acid pits and huck her body into the acid. Delilah's name is gone from the barrel of Percy's broken gun, but Cassandra's and Ripley's are still present. And then, Scanlan casts Friends on Percy. And thanks to magic, Scanlan rolls an incredible persuasion check against Percy, or I guess a deception check, able to fool him. Taliesin is heartbroken that he has to give over the gun, because mostly because he knows how much money it costs to enchant a new gun. He's going to be salty about that for a long, long time. But he also, begrudgingly, hands over the gun, and Scanlan throws it into the acid. Percy tries to grab the gun back out of the acid, but Keyleth casts Hold Person on him to keep him locked up. The party tries to reassure Percy that he will thank them for this later, and he just keeps repeating how expensive the gun was. And then...
As you're watching this, there's a small, from the fume, a small plume of black smoke goes...
See?
And that cold nugget in the center of your chest is gone.
It feels good, doesn't it?
Doesn't it feel good?
You fucking genius!
It feels good.
Like I said, Percy's going to be salty about this for a long time, but obviously he knows, deep down, that this was for the best. They make their way up to the castle and meet up with the rebels at the front gate. The rebels were about to storm the castle. Vox Machina happily reports that the Briarwoods are dead and Whitestone is free, but people should still stay out of the castle until Keeper Yennon and anyone magical that they can get in contact with can examine the spinning black orb of death. Keyleth casts the Jarolo crest into the air again, and then she becomes an air elemental and completely clears away the clouds to give the people some proper sunlight. Everybody in town converges at the Sun Tree, and Keeper Yennon vows that they will protect the tree and keep it sacred. And then he goes down the line and thanks the heroes who helped save the city. And this is something Matt does from time to time. He makes sure the NPCs recognize each of the heroes in turn.
Let us all take a moment and thank the heroes who made this freedom possible. To the strong mountain of joy, of bravery, Grog. To the gentle, to the kind, to the just soul, Pike.
He did something similar when the party first met Kynan, but here it's not just highlighting their reputation, it's a way to offer recognition for their heroics in this particular adventure. It's like the end of Return of the King, just a brief moment to show that our heroes are understood to be heroes. In this case, it doesn't look like Matt has written anything in preparation, but instead maybe he's just doing these off the dome. But importantly, what he's doing is highlighting what makes each of these heroes cool. Because that's what Matt does.
To the swift of bow, keen of sight, and the most adorable creature to accompany her.
As Trinket kind of steps forward and nuzzles your side.
Drink it. By the agility, by the cunning, by the loyalty of Vax.
I've lost track of how many times I've said this, and I'm going to say it a lot more in the future, but Matt listens to his players. He understands what makes each of them feel cool. And in moments like this, he has these traits acknowledged by the NPCs. And while sure, some of these superlatives are just describing the player's class abilities, every player character gets some sort of description and recognition of their personality, and what makes them heroes.
By the cleverness, by the wit, and the
Handsomeness?
strange interests of Scanlan. By the honesty, by the nature and connection of the world, and the wonder of Keyleth.
This is a really wonderful moment. But of course, dramatic moments are hard to get right, because all it takes is a tiny little slip to break the magic and expose the absurdity of what we're doing.
And by the strength of blood, from the willingness to sacrifice. Pardon me.
Percival's just waiting for his introduction.
To the stone cold motherfucker over
To the return of those valiants we once thought lost. and those who rise up to restore the joy of these people. Percival.
Hey, we got there. The people bring out food and begin to share an improvised banquet, a block party, as Marisha says. Keeper Yenin also reveals that they have 2 captives, a half-orc female and the Goliath, Duke Vedmire, the 2 remaining new nobles. The half-orc is Countess Jasna Graben, who the party briefly saw when they first arrived in Whitestone, and then they never encountered again. The town asks Vox Machina to decide on the sentence for these 2 traitors to the town of Whitestone. Some of the party members are a little frustrated they have to make yet another major decision. I've said this before, a lot of players don't like to be asked to make tough choices. But I really like what Matt is doing here. After all, the town already knows that these people are guilty, so this isn't a trial. Instead, Matt gives the players a chance to help shape the future of Whitestone by determining how the last of the traitors will be dealt with. Scanlan declares that these 2 should functionally be forced to perform community service to help rebuild the town. Vedmire accepts these terms, while Jasna denies them, so Grog cuts off her head with a natural 20. But the demonstration here from Scanlan and Percy is that Whitestone will once again be a place that offers mercy. Scanlan's finally able to get his beret, thanks to a real-life fan sending one in. Scanlan also suggests that they help build a library in town. He clearly has a lot of thoughts about what a long-suffering town might need in order to return to greatness. We'll see Sam think about these things a lot in the future as well. Anytime moments like this arise, he really shines. He's great at zooming out and getting a macro view of the landscape, political or social or otherwise. Keyleth communes with the sun tree again and senses that it is finally starting to heal. We get a brief moment where the tree talks to Keyleth, but honestly the tree's voice hasn't really been defined yet, so we'll come back to this the next time Keyleth talks to the tree, but the most important thing that happens here is that she talks to the tree, and that's a big deal for her. It's a validation of one of her goals that she's been working toward for their entire time in Whitestone, saving the tree. Vax follows Keyleth to the tree, but on his way, Grog tries to pants him, but Vax dodges it. He goes to speak with Keyleth and have a romantic moment, and the rest of the cast hides their faces to give them privacy, and not at all because they're embarrassed or uncomfortable.
I'd be lying if I said often night when I go to sleep, your face is the last thing that crosses my mind. But with the weight of the world and the weight of the contact embarrassment from our fellow party currently, it's hard to focus on.
Oh, wait.
Wait. Wait.
For you. Don't do anything. Don't change anything. If you'll have me, I'm yours. If you don't want me, I understand. And that's all there is to say.
Keeper Yenin tells the group that he'd love for them to stick around for the next 2 weeks until Winter's Crest, which is Tal'Dorei's version of Christmas. It's the first celebration in Whitestone in a long time, and they'd like Vox Machina to be a part of it. And the episode ends with the party witnessing joy in Whitestone for the first time in 5 long years. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with another episode of Critical Role Demystified in 2 weeks to discuss episode 36, Winter's Crest in Whitestone. This is a much lighter episode from a plot perspective, but it's going to be fun to talk about how to integrate real-world holidays into our RPG games. Plus, there's at least one moment that I know I'm really excited to talk about. A certain character receives a certain magic item as a gift. So make sure to come back for that in 2 weeks. But also, you should come hang out every Monday and Thursday. I make new RPG-themed videos, and you should subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss them. Support me on Patreon if you want to help take this Critical Role Demystified series weekly. Join my Discord server to hang out with other awesome people. Follow me on Twitch to catch my live streams, and sign up for my newsletter to stay up to date with the latest news. I recently put out a video about what makes certain supervillains compelling. Check that video out right here if you haven't already. Until next time, play fair and have fun.